Yes, it's John G. Sutton. Welcome to Tales from the Jails. I'm going to talk today a little bit. It really seems to be very popular for some reason. People want to know all about Paul Sykes and his life. Well, my experience of Paul Sykes is a little bit limited. The first time I encountered him, he was being held down by three big lads, and I had a needle in my hand and shot that into his backside, full of Largactyl or whatever, and sparkled him out for a few days. But Paul Sykes was a brutal man. I mean, his criminal record was full of assaults, grievous bodily harm, actual bodily harm. Thought nothing about it. I mean, listen to, there's a video about him, talks about, what does he say? I've spent my life whacking screws. Well, at strange ways, he tried, didn't succeed. Anyway, that's Paul Sykes. But he has two sons, both of which are serving life imprisonment for murder. I mean, if you watch that documentary about Paul Sykes and he's talking to his sons and he's saying things to them, something like, you're going to get a backhander here. This is going to be a good hiding. It's not going to be an ordinary good hiding. It's going to be a proper good hiding because you're getting a late teenager now. What you need is a good slapping. And much good did it do them. Yeah. Paul Leighton Sykes, yeah, is serving life for murdering a man that he stabbed to death. Michael, somebody or other, he stabbed to death. Stabbed this guy, killed him, and he's now serving life imprisonment. His other son, Paul Sykes, his other son is called Michael, and he's serving a minimum of 27 years imprisonment for murdering a former police officer. Now, this is not the way to spend your life. It's not what God gave you a life for, to beat people up and to injure them and to murder them. That is definitely not the reason for being here, let me tell you that. But anyway, for all Paul Sykes was a big hunk of a bully, and he was a bully, yeah. And I've heard people discussing it on my channel here, sending messages to say that Paul Sykes abused them, and whilst I was at Strange Ways, I know he was noted for abusing young inmates, but not raping them, you know. I don't think he actually raped them. Maybe he paid them or just cajoled them or in some way bullied them into having sexual relationships with him. What one report I had indicated that he used to get a copy of page 3 from the Sun and stick that onto the back of his selected partner, his victim, yeah, bend them over the bed and bugger them. Not exactly, you know, the way to spend your weekend, is it? You know? But the strange thing is about the children, they always say, don't listen to me, they always say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yeah. Now, my father was a police detective inspector in the CID in Greater Manchester, and my brother was a police detective inspector in the CID in Manchester, and I couldn't be because I'm colourblind. Passed the exam, failed the medical, can't do it. That's why I joined the prison service, you see. And when I joined the prison service in January of 1975, the actual rate of pay and the career structure for a prison officer was better than that of a police officer. You started on more money and it went up incrementally. And I thought it would be a proper career until I got in and saw what a mess it really, really was. Seriously. When I was working at Wormwood Scrubs in London, there was I was on the yard duty. They had the exercise yard, and at the side of the exercise yard they had a laundry unit, and the laundry unit had metal gates, iron barred gates. It didn't have a solid gate, yeah. And the rest of the prison would bring their laundry in hand-drawn little trucks, 4 wheels on, you know, and they'd bring their laundry from, say, A wing, B wing, C wing, and deliver it to this laundry that was situated at the side of the yard near C wing, yeah. And at the gates of this yard there came, as I was on duty, partly in control of the exercise for that day, there came on into the gates a prisoner who was working inside the laundry, and he was shouting abuse at the people on the exercise yard. You big nonsense, and nonsense like that, you know. It was just generally causing trouble. So I said to this guy, I went over from where I was standing, only about 5 yards. I went over to him and said, listen, it is not time yet for the buns, but when the buns arrive, believe me, I'll come and feed you the buns personally. Now, in the meantime, monkey man, get inside. Just an ordinary prisoner, you know. He didn't take too kindly to this, though. Started shouting, you maniac, I'll get you, you bastard, you can't talk to me like that. He was from D-Wing, you see, and they tended to be a little bit nicer to them there. I wasn't unkind. I mean, I was just having a little joke back, but he couldn't see the humour, you see. So anyway, somebody from, I think it was from A-Wing, brought their truck with all their laundry in over to the, and opened the gate. And this guy, they would open the gate to get their laundry in the truck. And this guy that I'd offered to feed the buns to, he come running out of the thing, charging across off the gate, running at me, except the dog handler, who was standing just a bit further, let the dog off. The dog gripped him by the trousers, yeah. This guy's fighting like hell. So I runs over, grabs hold of him, yeah. The dog handler had got the dog by this time, and I flung him back inside the laundry, and shut the door to and locked it. I'll tell you something, I mean, that guy was frothing at the mouth, you know. He wanted to kill me for some unknown reason, you know, maybe just to prove a point that nobody offered to feed him a bun, you know. He wasn't in the zoo, you know. But anyway, strange thing was, he was in prison for murder, serving life for murder. He's a dangerous man, you know. Eh? But what he'd done was he nailed somebody down in a field, nailed them down into, spragged them out, you know. What I call spragging them out, you know. And he poured petrol over and burnt them to death. I don't know what he'd done that for, but he had. And the strange thing is that man, I think his name was Poutney. Yeah, that man, he had done exactly the same thing that his father had done. His father had burnt somebody to death. Imagine that. Let's talk about the apple not falling far from the tree. Tales from the jails. I sincerely hope you're enjoying this little channel here. And if you get a chance, watch that other one I did today with Jamie Boyle on, what's it called? War Cry. Yeah, I did an interview with that. I started about an hour. That seemed to go well. Thank you very much. Hey, maybe subscribe. It's down here somewhere, you know. John G. Sutton. Hey, and my book called Psychic Screw, by the way.